Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence. How are you? Big mahalo for tuning in. Today we're speaking with another legendary musician on their way to play here Thursday, October 13th at Hawaiian Brian's in Honolulu, October 14th at the MAC, and October 15th at the Honoka'a People's Theater. No stranger to playing here. He has a long history of incorporating island, African, and South Pacific sounds into his music. He even lived here. He's a celebrated Grammy Award winner, a bluesman, guitarist, multi-instrumentalist, singer, songwriter, taking his experience growing up in Massachusetts to California and then the world. It's a pleasure to finally get to speak with him myself and welcome the great Taj Mahal. Aloha and mahalo, my brother. It's an honor. Thank you.
Hey, aloha, and how's it, everybody?
How's it right back, bro? It's good here.
It's good. Going good.
Very good, and thanks for the time. How long do you personally, aside from living on Kauai, when did you first make it to Hawaii?
In the late 60s, I started going over there with the first band that I got popular with on records with Jesse Davis and Gary Gilmore and Chuck Blackwell. And that bunch, we came over and played some, different kind of rock festivals and whatnot that were happening over there at that time.
What's your earliest memory of being in Hawaii that comes to mind?
I always remember being in Hawaii. Well, for me, was that I knew I hadn't really met the real Hawaiians yet.
Describe.
That there was, something that I was hoping that I would get connected with, and I eventually did. I didn't know how to approach it, but I knew that the commercial stuff that was happening around the music that we were playing and where we were taking, that wasn't the real stuff, And eventually we were able to, catch up to the real folks.
What made you want to move here?
Oh, great place to raise your kids. It was, Kauai was an agricultural. Basically, it's an agrarian culture, so there wasn't an awful lot of city stuff going on. I mean, you had some different things. You could get some bog or some cane smoke, but that was pretty much the extent of how crazy everything could get. A lot of green. You'd come off the road from being, banging around in cities all over the place, and there would just be so much lushness and mana from the islands and
from the Aina, brother.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. No like talking to me, you bugger. No, I'm serious, man. I mean, it was just like the land, you say the Aina, give them, and it's just like it was great to come back and be nourished by that when I would go out and be gone, and play and be in all these cities. And no, it was the easiest thing in the world. I don't care how tired I was after a tour to know I was going to get on a plane and go home. And when I got there, I would be in Hawaii. I would be on vacation when I was at home.
Yeah, brother.
And my kids were being well taken care of, and they grew up real good in the community, and it was about family, and that was real important to me.
I grew up in the Philly area, and then I went to college in Boston at Emerson, and I ended up spending 12 years there. So when you talk about how you feel about coming back here, I can completely relate. Every time I leave and come back after 9 years of living here, I really can relate to that. It has a special sort of reassuring, refreshing quality. And Kauai,
right.
You picked Kauai. Now, Taj, was that because you had gone there and checked it out, comparing it to other islands in Hawaii, or why did that one end up getting you? It is the lushest, but just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I like Big Island, but it seemed like Maui had quite a bit of development, and although you want to see Hawaii get 4-wheel drive, and get dogs that can can hunt pig, you know, and you solve the problem. Get a couple of mules and you're done. You know, you're a mile or 2 miles off any main road. You know, whatever. You know, I mean, but I went there. That was the least developed, and you know, my partner at the time, my wife, you know, she was really keen on it. She'd done some research, and that sounded like the place for her. So we went there. It turned out that one of my old friends that I went to school, I'm a UMass graduate, so
yeah, I see that.
You know about me, you know. So Buffy St. Marie was there, and I didn't even know that's where she lived. I remember her going off somewhere in the earlier '60s. You know, everybody said she went to Hawaii with some surf. You know, it's amazing how people are about Hawaii. When they don't live there, they always got these kind of funny attitudes toward it.
Right.
It's like either it's their fantasy to go and hang out on the beach there, or if you go there, they got to somehow, you know, try to put a little smudge on it. Going, oh, she left here with some surfer guy, you know.
Right.
You know, and
it's true.
Part of it's true, but why was that so bad? You know, why did it have to have that kind of tone? But anyway, yeah, I got. Eventually, her son and my son ended up playing music and have been lifelong friends from that connection there. But yeah, I just came there and it was really nice. I mean, I'm used to being able to go anywhere, man. I mean, travel because I got out and travel, and you know, I don't have to have a holiday and to have fun.
Yeah, you're versatile.
And,
you're easy like that.
Till I need to do something, I'm all right, you know.
Now, you're a laid-back cat, and I can obviously detect that as we chat. When you think about some of the things you were just saying towards the end there about getting to travel around the world, and the thing that's interesting about your music is you have performed with international flavors for decades being a part of your music, and some of those international flavors have included both things that relate to Hawaii, but also things that relate to the Caribbean and other islands. And my question to you would be, and I'm always fascinated by this, as you know from living here, reggae is gigantic in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you think of island connections, as a guy who's played on a lot of them, and as I just noted, played music from a lot of different islands, are there things you can see that draw them together, that there are similarities or bonds that they have?
Oh, yeah. It's first of all, reggae is underclass music. And you know, I mean, in terms of the topsy-turvy thing that happened with Hawaiians, and you know, at one time being the ruling class, and then you know, over a period of time getting totally switched under, you know, the ruling class. The music gives you personal strength in your culture to be able to communicate to one another, and also to be able to communicate to the so-called upper class. You know, I mean, the strat is was even harder in the Caribbean because you had the British running the game, and that's a hard line. Right. You know, I mean, you actually had a pseudo version of the British, the New Englanders, who were the ones that really were setting that, the Galvanists, who were setting the missionaries up and all of that kind of stuff in Hawaii in the early years. So you had a similar line, and then later, you know, I wouldn't say they're industrialists, but industrialists that came in, you know, and created the commerce that happened there. And, you know, here there was one set of rules and laws that these people thought was sovereign in there, and they got switched around. So reggae gives you an opportunity to be able to say your piece, you know, and communicate all the things that are important to you. You know, jazz gives you back your mind. You know, reggae gives you back your body, and blues give you back your soul. You know, and if you have those three somewhere near, you know, and country give you something to hoot and holler about. You know, if you got those things in proximity to one another, you know, it really makes it. And you know, it's cultures that are on the water, depend upon what's in the water, off the water. You know, you're talking cocoa palms, you're talking, you know, all the different things, goats, chickens, you know, scruffy dogs, you know, I mean, all kind of stuff. You know, pig hunts.
Right, flavors
You know?
that connect the places. I get it.
That's right. You know?
No, I like that. That's it's always neat to talk to cats about the way they see the different connections, and it's really cool when I get a chance to talk to like guys from Jamaica. It's even more fascinating. You know, I sat with Ziggy Marley right in the studio and just talked about this stuff for a long time.
Oh yeah, he likes it there too.
Oh, he loves it, and he gives good perspective on it himself.
Yeah, because he was raised up in Jamaica. You know, you have King, you have everything they have here. You know, just about everything. I mean, there might be a couple of things they don't have, but it ain't that you couldn't get them there. You know,
right?
You could have somebody send some over for you. You know.
When you come in terms of the sound that you're going to do, because as we've talked about, you've covered a lot and you've done different bands and you've been able to, through your career, do them all well. I noticed that it's the Hula Blues band that's coming here.
Yeah.
What's the flavor? What sort of flavors, as we've talked about these different kinds of flavors, what's going to be part of these 3 island shows that we have coming?
Well, I mean, we've been for the people that know. I mean, it's the band is my regular drummer Kester Smith, and then that's and my regular sound man, okay, and then we have Pancho Graham playing upright bass. And then we have Fred Lunt playing steel guitar.
Nice.
And then we have 3 ukuleles and me playing, 6-string guitar, acoustic electric, a couple acoustic electric and nylon acoustic electric, steel string acoustic electric, and I've got a couple 3 ukuleles and banjo maybe, and we're down the road,
Man, what a tasty instrumentation package. All those ukuleles going off at once. I mean, that's...
Yeah, I mean, it's like all these musics are in Hawaiian music. I mean, it's clear that, it's like, country and blues, jazz and ragtime, all those. These are the cousins that, allow us to be able to play together,
Nice description.
Yeah. I mean, if you go back to original Hawaiian music, you're talking nose flute, shakers, gourds, rattles, split bamboo sticks, stones, dance, chant, and there's no stringed instruments until the Portuguese come, and then the Mexicans come. And then the string instrument starts, and they had their own development, and they developed all kind of stuff the way they did. I mean, that's one of the, to me, it's totally unique sound. All you got to do is hear one note, and you can tell the difference between when you're listening to country and when it's Hawaiian.
That's right.
Immediately.
Yeah, that's cool how I just realized there's really a connection between the earlier musics from Hawaii and the Caribbean by way you just described. With it started with the gourds, the shakers. There's like in the earliest years, I bet there were a lot of similarities like that on the percussive end. Well,
yeah, I think what you're looking at is that earlier Africans came from Africa with stringed instruments already. You understand me? That's how the banjo got to be a part of American music.
From things like the kora and things.
Yeah, well, from actually the ngoni, because there's no instrument like the kora here.
Right.
Except the closest thing to it would be a harp guitar.
Okay.
Okay, which has probably anywhere from 6 to 9 sympathetic strings around it. And also 6 strings. That's the closest thing that can come to a kora. Okay, I don't know how they came with that idea, but there you go. But banjo is a direct cop and a development from the ngoni, which is definitely the sound, the whole sound from the Songhai Empire.
Wow.
All that stuff that came out of Mauritania, Senegal, the Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Really serious, that whole empire. And there's a lot of people came out of that empire, and populated lots of different places here in the Western Hemisphere, and their mark is on the instruments, and the music and the time and the sounds and the cadence. But it's also, dancing and chanting, rattling, shaking, the clicking of different kinds of tunes, sticks together, and drums, it's pretty basic, and so we have lots of things in common, and then different kind of strings. The banjo got given up for the guitar, whereas in the case of the ukulele, which was the cavaquinho that came from Portuguese, that got worked on and developed into present day what we know as ukulele. And then if you're somebody that collects them, you look at the collection of how many different styles they made. That thing is pretty doggone shocking.
Right. The evolution of it as an instrument.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Martin just put out a brand new ukulele, right? I was looking at it in the Guitar magazine the other day. $1,596 with the case.
Wow.
All Koa.
Oh, nice. Wow, on Koa.
Hello. It's like, yeah. I mean, it took them a while to get back in the game because they made lots of them. Those were highly prized ukuleles, the old Martin ones.
Damn, that does sound sweet, man. So,
yeah.
Is there any chance of people like Jake Shimabukuro or somebody like that jumping up on stage at any of your shows?
I don't know if Jake is there. I mean, he certainly is welcome. I mean, we always have it open. If somebody shows up and everybody feels that we can do something, we'll do it. I mean, I'm chef the group, and usually, if somebody can play, they'll get up and do something with us.
You on that note of sort of interacting with people and the wide variety of folks that you can interact with, you recently did a very special gig. It was in New York City. It featured a couple of giants coming together in a sort of pioneering way. It was Wynton Marsalis, Eric Clapton. You were part of it. Share some details about the event.
Well, basically, thank you for bringing that up. It was the, first of all, a 3-day event at the F.P. Rose Auditorium, which holds 1,200 seats. And we were filled to capacity all 3 nights. As you know, around the country and around, particularly in New York at this particular time, is that there are absolutely no blues clubs there. None. In New York City anymore. B.B. King's is there, but it sustains itself with, R&B, rap, and many other types of
rock shows.
Of music. Right. Rock, too. So, man, this is nothing to be upset about, but that's what it is. Motown has a presence in New York City, but not a performing venue. So, with the jazz at Lincoln Center, I am now the curator of the blues at Lincoln Center. And Wynton had been in contact over a period of time. I actually didn't really notice at the time we had been talking about it. But we've been in contact with Eric Clapton, and they wanted to do something together. And Wynton was kind of, excited and pleased that Eric had, quite a jazz background and knowledge of that music, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he wanted to get together and do something. And they said they wanted to have me involved in it. And I was going to work with my band, and we figured out that wouldn't be the thing, and would I be, willing to play solo. So I did 4 solo pieces, and then the band came out and they played. And then later on in the show, I did 2 pieces with the band. And have both Eric and I singing, and I played banjo on that one, and one I just sang from the place that I was at. But yeah, it was really exciting. And the first night, I think we raised well over $3 million because that was the benefit night, and then the other 2 were just performance nights, and then it was shot in high def. I don't know how many cameras. The room is set up to do video in it, and also record. And the recording is just fabulous, and everybody's just having a great time. And I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed playing with this. And I just love the band. I think everybody's going to really surprised. There's some surprises. I won't give them away, but there's a tune that's really gets Eric is quite well known for and famous for, which he does in the Witten arranges in a New Orleans style, and it's fabulous, and then they've got this young trombone player that I think Curtis Crenshaw. I think his name is something Charles Crenshaw. They're really good, just fantastic. There's a tune called Joliet Bound. I just love the way he sang the song. Played the horn, played trombone on it, just great. And just a fabulous band of musicians. Everybody, it was great. Night after night, it was a thrill to be there.
You've had such an incredible career, so many opportunities like that, and I can hear the gratitude in your voice and appreciation that you've been able to be part of all these special things. It's remarkable, and it's probably why you keep getting invited to be there. Also, not to mention the fact that you have this musical sort of expertise and musicianship, which allows a lot of potential when you bring somebody like you into the fold. As a final sort of note with you, Taj, I'm really hoping that when you come to the islands, I've been a fan for a long time. If there's any way we can carve out a little 10-minute window the day of your show for just a brief in-person follow-up interview in Honolulu.
I'll tell you what, you will really help me out if you do something for me. One is make sure that people know that they can look me up at tajblues.com. And number 2, there's an incredible blog out there called Birds with Broken Wings. It's a blog spot. And if you read the mission statement, Birds with Broken Wings, and read the mission statement and go to the sidebar and go to July number 5. It's, I think there are 5 entries in July. And there's one called Show Enough Makes Me Feel All Right. And go to that. SHO, Axontagu, NUFF, Makes Me Feel All Right. And go to that particular blog spot and click onto that. And that will give you an incredible twofold history of the music and what I've been doing, and this guy's really just done perhaps the best job that anybody's ever done putting together what it has been that I've been doing in my life. And I've been trying to get the people who have been wanting to interview me to go there first, and then they'll really have just a real clear idea, because a lot of times it's like you're trying to put it together and you haven't seen the artist, or you saw the artist in there, like the last guy was talking to, he was talking to me in the middle of it. I said, when's the last time you see it? Oh, he says, I think I saw you in the 80s. I said, wow, 80s. It was 2011. And the guy talking about the last time he saw me was in the 80s.
Last time I saw you was with Jack Johnson's...
oh, yeah, well, you're there. That's
2 nights.
Recent time. No, I know you're there. I know you're there. This guy was like coming from way out there. He was like, it might as well have been like, Rolling Stone 1967. He had no idea what's going on. So, I see you've been to New Jersey. It's like, and so I said, well, so at least he did admit that he hadn't, I said, oh, okay, well, I wish you told me that in the beginning. I said, we could have had a different kind of interview.
Right.
You know, because ultimately he was waiting for the nuggets and the diamonds to come out of me without telling me that he needed them.
Right.
You know, so anyway, but yeah, this Blogspot is really fabulous, man. Plus, there's a lot of other people that are there. You know, Tom Waits, Al Cooper, you know, Ben Sidran, and a number of really wonderful lady musicians. You know, I mean, it's just fabulous. You know. So
I go there. I'll read that post.
Yeah. And then when you get in touch with me, I'll know whether you read it or not, because you can talk to me about it, and we can have that be some part of what you want to do in that. It
will be it. Other than that, I give you a big hug and a high five. I appreciate you taking the time for me today, dude. I really do.
All right.
Be safe, dude. Be safe.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, man.
You're welcome. Aloha.